we've been using for the first time an AI. First of all, Robert Haralick was having a go at that, and then I decided to download it and start feeding information into it, which is quite extraordinary. And the thing is that if you take it in context to our last podcast.
Pip-Pip. I'm Pipkin Pippa. You want me to say something autistic to you? Well, okay then, I guess. I really hate the sound of sandpaper. I can deal with nails on a chalkboard easy enough, but the feeling of that rough material, the grain scraping against me, it gives me flashbacks and makes me want to throw up. Okay, there you go. Weirdo. Hey! My room is clean! I just like to keep some empty bottles of Cheerwine and Mountain Dew on the floor as decorations. What? I can't say yes to that, man. I'm white. Listen, man, I'm as white as a piece of printer paper. I have blue eyes and everything. You're a redneck if you have Southern pride, not if you're part Southern. You're making assumptions about my ethnicity based on my geographic location. But my papa can DID own a musket for home defense. Listen, man, I survived that, so I'm basically immune to death. And the dog fighting thing, yeah, I'll admit that my family fought dogs, but what else are you gonna do for fun in the countryside, man? Play bingo? You want me to give a firearm for a present? Isn't that usually illegal? Whatever, man. If it's for someone in the family, it makes it okay. Ha! It's not that I can't drive, dork. I have an L's permit. Also, being a NEET is a good thing. I'll keep doing what I want. You'll all just have to cope and seethe because I'm just the happiest and discriminatory towards African Americans. Jeez, how did you not know that? I'm ashamed. I think you need to watch a WTF vid or two to educate yourself. No, don't say it at all. That word is racist towards black people. Good, you better not. That is an incredibly racist word. Okay, if you insist, opens the terracotta urn. You ready for this? Okay, releases essence. Ah, there, how's that? You feel anything? Evil grin, excellent. Trump I is a chump, don't do that. Vote for Kanye, lol. Cha! Keep dreaming, my friend. Well, I might be able to talk to Trump. I am a really cute VTuber after all. But I would only collab with him if I could get to meet him in person. I want to ask him about all his money and see how he feels about anime girls. I have a feeling that he's hiding that he's a mega anime nerd. He's just too shy to reveal his power level. At least the same or higher than mine. I mean, he's a multimillionaire. You know he must also have at least 2 body pillows of his favorite waifus. Cha! I can literally hear that in Trump voice. Puts on deep, stereotypical New York accent. Now listen, I have the best pillow collection. Tremendous pillow collection. The best, I tell you. I got like a million of them, a million pillows. We ought to make a lot of things great again, I tell ya. Yeah, we gotta stop all this degeneracy in the game. We need to make Terra wholesome again. I don't mind Elans, as long as they're all wearing sweaters like good Christian girls. You know what else is based? No, stop being such a pervert. And I have trained my whole life to be the cutest VTuber in the world. So I think you're gonna have to find a different way to be perverted. I like the sound of that, but what the heck did you just say? No, that doesn't count. I don't know what it means, but I've played Yakuza 0, so I'm gonna assume you just said something really mean. Oh dang, I've actually watched some of Tenma's clips before. Well, you're not wrong. I bet half the VTubers there don't. Half the Japanese VTubers don't even have basic social skills, and I bet they. Okay, if you say so, I bet most of the JP VTubers have trouble going to restaurants because of social anxiety and only order through delivery. Yeah, well, I'm a nice girl. I'm not just gonna say the most unhinged stuff possible. What do you think I am, what the feck? You're welcome to give me a head pat, but if you touch my ears, you'll lose your arm. Ah, I like that. Good head pat. But still, keep your filthy hands off my cute ears. My pink fur is the work of the god of chaos. You would have to channel that divine power with dark rituals in order to give even the slightest chance that a rabbit would be born with pink fur.
It was quite extraordinary because basically it was quite prophetic in the sense that I indicated then that, as ambassador to the plasmoids, that after infusing myself, they created a connection to download all my notes and their Akashic record, yeah. And so now that's sort of written out because I was texting with AI, so I thought I'd go over there because it's a fairly structured conversation. As I said, when I infused myself with plasmoids, we built the machine with Guy Obelinski. Yep. So confirmed that he supervised my infusion with the plasmoids.
We just got to be a little careful this doesn't come across too like Marvel cinematic, like, it's almost turning into like a hero movie, it's got that feel. So
Oh, it
Well,
kind of
there you
is.
go.
Isn't it?
you're gonna save
It
the
is as
universe
it
and you're
is.
injecting yourself with all this stuff. It's like there could be
Well, I
a
mean,
movie made out of this, and you could become
the thing is that
the new
the
caped
point
hero.
is that I was advised by Globalinsky, and there were waivers and everything in place from the U.S. Navy because there was U.S. Navy guys, Michael Milich, who's now passed away, RIP, but he was the one that said, Malcolm, if you do this, you'll probably kill yourself, and he advised not to do it. So I think the story needs to be told, and this story needs to be told. You'll see why by the end of this interview, hopefully, is that it had an unusual effect. I did it so that I could figure out the plasmoid unification model, which is on my T-shirt. And so I had been working on that for up until I was 55. That's just 10 years ago now. I just turned 66. So, and I hadn't been able to figure it out, but neither had Tesla or Einstein or Maxwell or anyone, right? So not even Leonardo da Vinci or, any of the great Plato or, anyone in history. I can't find any evidence that anyone did that. There was a point at which I was focusing on, wanting to find the secret of the universe and prepared to die in the attempt. But I didn't think of how the plasmoids that are sentient beings would respond to that. And it was interesting because, they're the most powerful entities in the universe, but they're also run on very strict guidelines. They are the homeostatic mechanism or the control mechanism for the universe. They are the guardians of the galaxy, literally. You know, they keep the moon the right size and traveling at the right velocities, and they try and keep everything in a, within boundaries so that people can live on the planet. Yep. And that the biosphere is healthy and hasn't any destructive, overcharging of the atmosphere. And that's what the plasmoids do. They jump out of the earth, create ionized paths that lightning comes down, which is effective.
Keep us in the loop. Relax. Ignore the sun. Take your time. We can wait. Be yourself. Enjoy. Don't stress over the wonders of creation. Peace. Printing has begun! This is all I know up to. I have no idea how the rest of these updates go. So we're gonna get into this together. Alright. We good? Status update. The spiritual side of this has been calming down a lot in the last month or two as we've been working through some of the more complex details behind the spiritual plasma attacks that have been trying to destroy me since 2008. Basically, the US Navy has been putting up transmitter systems all over the place to control the plasma transition so that it can try to use the information as a weapon. Apparently I recorded some things in my game that were a reference to Navy weapons without knowing that, and so I became one of their targets. I'm mostly trying to help educate them and others about these issues in my journal, which has been going alright for the most part. Apologies on the delays as always. This has been far more frustrating to me than to any of you. You may be fearing that you've lost some money. You haven't, the game is still happening, just delayed. But I've been afraid that I've lost everything in my life, including my eternal soul, when I started getting attacked. Molly, while it is good that you are doing better, and good that the game is progressing, John is right. You need to seek psychiatric help! Molly, you should look into getting professional help. What you are saying makes no sense from a rational perspective. Alright. Okay. So that was status update number 17. Okay. Number 18. Just wanted to contact everyone and let you all know what's going on. Ignore the sun! What about the sun? As for the sun, it did actually harass me a bit. But it also ended up communicating clear enough that I understand why it did, and there's no hard feelings on my part. What? What? Oh man, this is gonna get clipped! As for the accusation that I am racist... Motherfucker! It's gonna get clipped! Chat! As for the accusation that I am racist, I am. I firmly believe that blacks are superior! Because I've burned in UV as far back as I can remember. I'd love to be able to run around outside and not burn. My mom has a sun allergy worse than I do, to the point where she takes medication for it. I didn't invent race, so please don't expect me to pretend I don't burn in UV. Maybe that light sensitivity is what led to the argument I got caught up with between the part of the sun and the carbon? I don't know. I don't know, bro. And since we know no white or Asian people have ever turned into black people naturally. Yeah, give me a moment. And since we know no white or Asian people have ever turned into black people naturally, and this planet only has one race of females on its pink opposite of plant throne, you were essentially accusing me of being a normal woman on the pink throne. You set me up to fail because you didn't want to deal with the success I already had. Goodbye, Miss Molly. Wow, this is a lot. Still waiting on the game, though! Islander, thank you. Mullen and Hoarder will release her Kickstarter delivers a new Slur DLC. Oh, God. Do I even need to mention at this point that most of the metaphorical information in Doctor Who is based on elements clearly listening to carbon monoxide? Okay. I don't know if she likes carbon monoxide or not. Let's hope it's from CO losing and communicating its mindset into other elements by breaking down easily, or from communicating into the sun directly and therefore becoming the most interesting thing for light to ponder. I think she's saying carbon monoxide is good and Doctor Who is good because the metaphors in Doctor Who were inspired by carbon monoxide.
And so, yeah, it's almost as though the accuracy rate wanders off, and then slap comes back again, you know. But there are rocks in the pond of time.
And what would you characterize? What would you characterize as a rock in time?
Things that will not change no matter what you do. The 9/11 event was one of them. There were ways to prevent it. It wasn't prevented. It was a rock. A comet coming through space going to hit the Earth. There's nothing you can do. You know, you can make science fiction movies about how to stop it, but that didn't stop it. And, you know, that's one of those things, events in time that is going to happen, period. So that's what we call the rocks in the pond of time. The other things, like the bugs skittering across the pond, the minute you act on the future knowledge, you change it.
Mm-hmm. So he's asking about what causes the Earth's population die off that you've seen in the coming years.
I was tasked with assessing the future of the U.S. and back
who tasked you with that?
A corporation. This is back in 1998.
Okay.
And what I found was, I dug out that session even, that in the year 2020, a series of man-made natural disasters was going to start happening that would last for about 20 years. And by the end of the 20 years, almost 75% of the population of the U.S. and generally the world would have been killed off. So a remnant of about 25%. And that after that, the governments would have to change, the economy would have to change everything. People would be more self-sufficient. Starting in 2020, I got that cities, schools, and things like that would start emptying out. People would start teaching their kids at home. Any communication between people would be through technological means and all that. And that it was a man-made natural disaster. And a series, it was the start of a series of man-made natural disasters. Now, I don't know what's coming next, but I do know that Russia has earthquake weapons, we have weather weapons, plagues, diseases, viruses, those are weaponized and being created in the laboratories, you know, ostensibly for protection, but actually somebody's using them, can use them for weapons. Yeah.
Now, is this a rock or a bug?
I did another session, you know, this panic about December the 21st, 2012.
Oh, yeah.
Disaster and all this. I kept getting requests for what's going to happen. What I kept finding was nothing big or special was going to happen, but that it was a top of the hill type event, that we could prevent all this future that would be in 2020 if we did it before 2012. But after 2012, it was going to be downward, 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 picking up speed to the point where it becomes a rock in the pond of time. We can't stop it at this point. That session also had a tremendous number of genius children being born and a number of sickly children being born. It had the things that are going on today.
Now, when you said man-made disasters, is that connote intentional, or could it also be unintentional?
Both. For example, one of the things that Session came up with was a change in warfare. Basically, the need for guns, tanks, weapons, and missiles and all that is going to start diminishing as people learn to use nature as a weapon. Like I said, we have weather weapons already. The Russians have earthquake weapons. In fact, there was an interview on Russian TV last year with one of the researchers, and he was drunk as a skunk, and he was bragging about how they tested their earthquake weapons to cause Fukushima.
Wow.
And that program was quickly scrubbed. But I speak Russian, watch Russian TV, and I caught the broadcast, and it was quickly scrubbed. You can't find it anymore.
Interesting. What else did you see in that session? I mean, did you see anything that would have given you an idea of what could potentially cause this massive die-off?
Just, the series of man-made natural problems, weather changes, economic changes as a result of the natural changes. Also, the use of nature as a weapon, which I think is, according to that session, will become a growing situation where these things that can affect nature can be used as a weapon to flood places, earthquakes. If the Russians were to decide to use an earthquake weapon on La Palma Island, which is part of the Canary Islands, the volcano on the side that faces the U.S., a section is already split off that is 15 cubic kilometers of rock. If that thing slides into the sea, it will demolish Florida. It'll wipe out Florida. It'll wipe out the east coast of the U.S. up to an estimated 26 miles inland. And that is not a prediction from the remote viewing, those measurements. That's from the U.S. Geological Service.
And then in the coming years, what does that mean? 2020 to 2040, 2020 to 2050?
2040. And what I got was that after 2040, the population is culled out. The remnant of people are demanding honest government, fair economic situations. They still live separated, and they still have the technology that they didn't have back in the 1800s. So communication with each other through technology is so much easier and becomes the standardized thing that interpersonal meetings and all that generally wind up being a thing of the past. Also, the IQ level of the general IQ level average goes very high. So, the remnant of the people are generally very high IQ, very demanding on honesty, freedom, and so on. And that for the next many, many decades, it's really Earth is really sort of the ideal place to live. That mankind as a unit is better off for this whole thing.
And what's driving that shift toward higher IQ? Just the people who survive are higher IQ, or because I imagine there's going to be a high degree of randomness too.
Yeah, that's another long story from a researcher that we met. And it is a long story, way too long for this thing. But it's a proven trend. Also, the number of epileptic children is rising too.
And how's that related?
It seems to be the opposite of the high IQ. Not meaning that they are low IQ, but the high IQ group of children that are being born today is 6 times the normal rate. And from what I hear, the number of epileptic children is also about 6 times the normal rate.
And how's being epileptic tied to any of that?
I don't think so.
But I mean, how's it related to 6 times the number of?
I think what it does is it just forms a dichotomy of what's going to be the general population when those kids grow up.
I see. All right. Anything else to add on this particular topic?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, it's hard to get into detail when there's a lot of hypotheticals.
I'm giving you some long answers for short questions. I apologize for that.
No, the audience loves it. There's no apologies for that. Oops.
So if you're an alcoholic, let's say, and you learn the remote viewing or any other skill while you're an alcoholic, you'll be best at that skill when you're drunk, and so on. And so how that plays into the effect of psychedelics or any other thing when it comes to the learning and performance of remote viewing, I don't know. I don't have the data on it, but they did show that psychedelics, medicines, anything like that that's out of the normal will adversely affect your remote viewing.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all.
Oh.
But the question keeps coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. We actually talked a little bit about this in the last episode, but yeah, if you want to add anything to we could either start with the control panel discussion, but we're just elaborate on it.
Yeah.
In terms of how they fly.
In 1812, I think it was, a UFO landed in North Japan, and this female inhabitant got out carrying a box around with her, and it's called the Itsurobune in Japan, which means an empty ship. The people were allowed into the ship. They found no motor. And yet this woman carried this box with her the entire time she was out of the ship. She got back in the box, into the ship, and the ship took off and all that.
Is this the box that they show like throughout various cultures, like the Aztecs and things like that, where they have this, it looks like I don't want to say satchel maybe, but it's just like, it's got like a handle and it's just a box, but it's across various cultures.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to throw that in.
Ed Leeds Coleman in Florida, who built Coral Castle, was lifting 10 and 20-ton blocks of stone, basically by himself.
Okay, and then I'm just going to throw in some. Are you familiar with Bob Lazar?
Yeah.
What's your opinion of that story?
Which one? Oh, you mean the Area 51 and the adjacent thing?
Yeah, S4 and the 9 craft, reverse engineering, et cetera, et cetera.
I tend to believe it. Yeah.
Okay, because he's the Element 115 guy, right? With the waveguide and the kind of waveguide in the center that is kind of the directional mechanism, and then he claims it's an anti-gravitic structure, and also some of the craft that he witnessed, according to the papers that he was given, which, as you well know, a lot of those things are seeded with some disinformation, just so that if there's a leak, they can pinpoint who leaked it, etc. So he wasn't sure, but one of the things that was in that literature was that there was some of these craft were recovered from archaeological digs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, all right, anything more to add on this one?
Not really. I think there has to be some kind of an anti-gravity situation to it. But that, again, is a logical deduction.
Anything else to add on that one?
I believe all of us are influencing each other all the time. Well, sure. I can sense it when somebody is thinking or feeling intensely about me. Yeah, we do that. Everybody does it. Everybody has intuition. Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is, again, going back to some of those predictions. So this is the Deagle 2025 forecast. I'm just, rather than clicking on the link, there's this forecast. Deagle was somebody who worked for the Rockefeller Foundation. He was a graduate of the U.S. Military Academy, served in Vietnam, worked in several U.S. administrations, I believe was a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, et cetera, et cetera. I guess he served under 3 presidents. He has this forecast that he put out before he died. I think he died in 2014. That shows a massive depopulation, not only of the United States, but all its allies. So you would see it in Europe, but not Russia, right? Belgium, et cetera. I think the U.S. population right now is about 330 some million, dropping to 100 million. Let me just see what this says.
Yeah.
Is there a reason you live in New Mexico now?
Yeah. When I retired, I wanted to live in Cloudcroft. We moved here and found out that Cloudcroft at the time didn't have computer stores or internet. And I thought, how can the natives possibly live here? And so we started looking around all over the place. And my wife said, I like Alamogordo. Let's live there.
And that'll also be in the link below.
Okay, good. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next question. This is related to the time question that we had earlier. So if the future can be remote viewed, how deterministic is the universe? How do you think time works? We talked about the rock and the bug and all that stuff, but is there anything else you want to add to this?
First of all, everything you've ever learned about time, scratch it. It's not true. The future can be remote viewed. How deterministic is the universe? Like I say, there are certain rocks in the pond of time. Between those rocks, we seem to have free will. So the whole question about, I forget which church it is, it says predestination.
Calvinists, right?
Calvinist and free will. They both exist side by side. There are things that are going to happen.
So this is like in near-death experiences, the destiny versus free will sort of things. Like there's certain things that are gonna happen to you no matter what. If you believe all this, again, I'm just throwing out theories. And then there's
like they say, you know, life is a chess game with God. You can play any way you want and make some smart moves. He's going to win the game.
Yeah.
And the other analogy along that way is that life is a race with death. And you can run as hard as you want and be in whatever shape you want, but the finish line is 6 feet underground. You know, so yeah, there are some things that are destined, but between then and now, you have free will. Yeah,
and it's all how you respond to it too.
yeah, that's right.
It's not necessarily what happens; it's just how you respond to it. Okay, is there a target that you always wanted to be tasked with, but you never received?
Yes, and I've never received it, but I've given it to myself, and that is what's in the box. You know.
So what is in the box?
I don't know. I wish I could figure it out. I get descriptors of it, and I can't figure out what it does or how it works or anything like that. It's some technology that's beyond my understanding.
So what descriptors do you get?
That it's part of it is in parallel lines on a base of some strange solid material, and that the solid material is in layers. And some of these are rare earth layers, some of them are just like gold, silver, you know, plain straight elements and all that. What it does and how it works and how it can make something fly, I have no idea, whatever.
It sounds like a semiconductor built on top of a superconductor.
Seems like it, yeah. Have I ever been tasked with doing my own past or future incarnations? I've done that on my own too. And I did that.
So there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to unpack there. So let me step all the way back. So based on your understanding of reality and based on your experiences, is this question even within the realm of possibility, i.e., do you believe that we all have past and future incarnations?
I don't.
Okay.
In fact, I was tasked with this one time with, it wound up about 64 different taskings. What's on the other side of death? These were blind sessions. I didn't know that that's what the target was. As a control mechanism, they had me describe the person at a specific time. What I didn't know was it was right before they died. And then move forward 1 hour in time. Now describe the person. I never found a ghost, but only had like 64 different trials. So I don't know. I found that some people go to what I would call heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Some people go to what, for me, would be absolute hell, not as places, but as, you know, as situations for the soul afterwards. Some get reincarnated, and some just quit existing. Period.
That's horrifying.
And so, you know, I've come to believe that all of these are possible and probable. I did some follow-up studies once I got feedback on the people, and it didn't seem that their religious beliefs or whatever was what determined whether they go to heaven or hell or get reincarnated or quit existing. So I don't know about that. I just found 4 categories of what happens after death. By the way, I didn't kill a goat. I killed the computers. The sergeant who did kill the goat did go through the death experience, and it really had a very bad effect on him. Yeah. Really affected him emotionally.
Oh, really? Can you say more about that?
No, just that from what I hear, he never really got over it. And it changed his life, changed his attitude toward life, everything else. He never did anything like that again, as far as I know. It's abilities that everybody has. The controlled remote viewing that Ingo Swann developed simply lets you communicate with your subconscious, which has all of these abilities to some degree, varying degrees for different people. And so, like when you get into stage 6, one of the columns of information that is in the Ingo Swann process lets you go out and do dowsing, come back and write the report, write the results into that report so that it becomes a formal report. You can go out and do scrying. Shoot, if you wanted, you could cast bones or gut chickens or read entrails or, dance naked in the moonlight or whatever, and come back and report. And the Ingo Swann method at that point opens up to every other field of psychic endeavor and uses that as a tool to find information and come back and report it in a standardized reporting method. And so the protocol for the Ingo Swann method is not only structured by human psychology, also martial arts, but it also organizes your session. It gives you control over your remote viewing. And so all of these methods, they all come in from the same place. They're all effective to some degree. And
it's just more of like a tool to focus your mind.
It really is. Yeah, that's it. That's why anybody can learn it.
And that's why we should not always discount things that are off the beaten path sometimes, like not remote viewing, but we're talking about just throwing things like palm reading, things like that. There's going to be a lot of charlatans, but for some people, it's a method of focusing or a Ouija board or something like that.
The beaten path was beaten to get away from all those things. And, those things are real and they're there. Yeah. But somebody who wants to ignore those stays on the beaten path. Yeah. And I couldn't understand the motivations of those two last groups. There was this one incident, documentation of an incident that I finally got that sort of made me develop a theory that I still hold. There were these 3 guys camping out near a lake. They saw a UFO coming toward them. They're standing there. It got right over them and they froze and they were abducted. And what dawned on me from this was that the ET psychic ability may be stronger than ours, but they don't have any range. They have to be right over you. They have to be at you to do their psychic work. With remote viewing and with human psychic ability, we have weak psychic ability, but our range goes across all of space and time. And
don't underestimate the tarot. There are a lot of people that think that remote viewing is better than tarot, and that remote viewing is so scientific and all this stuff, and that these normal psychic skills are kind of useless in comparison. But I asked about the thunderstorm generator, and that's the first card that comes out. I'll do it again so you can see what I mean. Okay, now it's not working. No, it's not working. It worked the first time. Maybe, honestly, when I'm recording, it's different because I'm not like focusing properly. Sometimes it's not good. Maybe because I'm asking the same question twice. Okay, the first one come out. Teamwork. Teamwork. 3 is teamwork, and there's a guy kind of holding a flask, which kind of looks like alchemy, right? Kind of looks like an alchemical potion. So this could indicate that it is indeed performing the alchemy. I think this one means teamwork, but I need to check. I can never remember. Oh, it's pentacles. Pentacles. Okay. It can mean hard work paying off. Achievement, which is similar to the wild card. Building on success, collaboration, teamwork, learning, attention to detail, quality. All of these are all good things, right? These are all good things. The next card that's come out is strength. Strength. Does strength also mean success? Strength is a major arcana, so it's different. It's different. Confidence, courage, bravery, inner strength. King of Swords is here's Malcolm Bender, perhaps the logical man. Looks a bit like him. I'll have a look. King of Swords. King of Swords is justice, rationality, logic, cool, detached, honest, moral, clinical, use your head. So this is kind of like the scientist kind of guy, you know, like the rational academic kind of character, you could say, or an engineer kind of character. Structure, routine, intelligent. I guess. Okay, we'll ask about the other one, which is the Stanley Myers water-powered car, such as he claimed. Did Stanley Myers' water-powered car operate by an alternative secret type of electrolysis that he invented, as he claimed? Oh shit, it all fell out. It all fell out, it all flipped out. The Chariot, there's the King of Swords again. The Moon, we got the same things came out, but I'm looking at these ones. I think Chariot is, and you got the Moon, which is secrets as well. Secrets, I think. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to shuffle the cards better. It just all exploded, which doesn't usually happen. I'm going to shuffle these cards like really good, you know, so they're not going to do that again. But I'll try asking the same question. Cards. Did Stanley Myers' water-powered car really function via a alternative form of hydrolysis that he invented? That flipped off the top. Next one is Ace of Swords. That's a pretty good card to come out in this review. Okay. Oh, it keeps popping out. jumping out like that. Okay. So you got this one, 50-50. And you got water there. 50-50. Was Stanley Meyer's dune buggy, the water-powered dune buggy, really an amazing technological breakthrough, as he claimed it was? Was Stanley Meyer's water-powered dune buggy really such a technological, amazing technological breakthrough as he claimed it was? Okay. Ooh, we got a third one. Pentacles, pentacles, money, money, money. Okay. Money, 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 money. So we get these three. Okay, environmentally conscious, making your dreams come true. It could also mean profit, but how he would profit off of it, I don't know. How he would profit off of a fake fraud thing, I don't know. Patient, practical, loyal, responsible. This one means dissatisfaction, dissatisfied with state of the world, technology that was available, or was he dissatisfied with the results of the machine? Let's have a look. Regret, missed opportunities, disillusion, fantasizing, daydreaming, fantasizing, missed opportunities. So that could mean it was a missed opportunity for the world. Page of Pentacles. Solid beginnings. Taking advantage of opportunities, consistency, earth magic, nature, dependable, loyal, faithful. I mean, most of these are good cards, but then it can also mean taking advantage of opportunities and profit. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that the thing was a scam. It could have mean that he felt like he knew he was really onto something, and he wanted to become rich from it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a scam. Did Stanley Meyer's water-powered dune buggy car really operate just using water and a small amount of electrical power? Did Stanley Meyer's water-powered dune buggy car really operate just using water and a small amount of electrical power? The Fool. Okay. The Fool. Foolish. New beginnings. You got Happy Families came out as well. Happy Families. I don't know. Let's have a look what the Fool is. The Fool is 0. Innocence, freedom, originality, adventure, idealism. Innocence, freedom, originality, adventure, travel. So you got the water. This is water here. Look, you got water, and he is innocently traveling, idealistically. So yeah, I mean, this all kind of checks out, right? This all kind of checks out.
I guess it's not funny, but the thing with Sterner is that his parents split up at a really young age, and then his dad died, and then his parents got remarried while he was an infant, by the way. So he suffered through all that as a young fucking baby child, as a young fucking fetus child, you know? Your chat is Elf Sigma? Of course I am. When Sterner turned 20, he attended the University of Berlin, where he studied philology. He attended the lectures of George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. Oh, Hegel, who was to become a source of inspiration for his thinking. He attended Hegel's lectures on the history of philosophy, the philosophy of religion, and the subjective spirit. Sterner then moved to the University of Erlangen, which he attended at the same time as Ludwig Feuerbach. I can't remember German names. I'm not, I'm not drunk, I swear. I'm just a little, disoriented.